Welcome back. Okay, so a lot has happened in my life for the past week. Don't worry, this relates. So, I have been watching quite a bit of YouTube in the past week, just purely based on the fact that I haven't really been going out and doing much, because I want to learn some things about mostly fitness and business. The two main aspects of life that matter to me the most, and then family. But that one was kind of done over the weekend because I had to watch my littlest two siblings twice. So I am going to go over that. I'm going to go over the facts showing that you're probably wasting your time on the internet. The internet is a great, vast tool. Don't get me wrong. But a lot of people waste their time on it because 90% of the content on there is not going to help you. Like a small entertainment video here and there is okay, but you don't want to be watching that all the time. You want to make sure what you're watching is going to help you. Okay. And I have basically a big old process for you to be able to either unsubscribe from a lot of channels or stop watching a lot of different types of content. The core part of it is that you need to figure out if this makes a difference in your life outside of when you're watching it. I'm going to give you a good example of this case and then an example of something that doesn't follow this rule. A good example of this is watching videos on how to work out, like a video showing you how to do proper form with squatting. That'll make a difference outside of the 10 to 30 minutes of you just watching that video on its own, because then you're going to go to the gym and then you're going to squat better and then you're going to start making gains quicker. So it's actually changing your life for the better. A bad example of a video that doesn't follow this premise is a tier list on characters of a video game that you don't really play. You don't play that video game anymore, so it's not like it's going to impact what you do. You're using a lot of your time because most tier lists are like half an hour long, if not an hour. So you're wasting a lot of time just watching a video on something that's just kind of interesting, and you're using brain power remembering everything in that video just for you to forget it on down the line because you're not going to use it again unless you actually do play the video game. But even then, it's just kind of whatever. So you can kind of tell if a video is actually going to be helpful for you to watch or not. After watching that video, will you have any knowledge that you will use in your life almost every single day beyond that point? On a regular basis, you're guaranteed to use it almost every day, or at least throughout the week, for the rest of your life. And if you're not, don't watch it. Wasting time on the internet is probably one of the biggest mistakes that most people make when they're on the internet, is that they eat up time doing things that aren't important, because they'll go off and click a video that just kind of sounds interesting. They'll go off and click a video that's by a YouTuber they used to watch, so they want to watch them again. That's not a good use of your time, I'll be honest. And I haven't visited almost any of the YouTubers that I used to watch because I stopped watching them for a reason. I don't think I'm going to go back and find them funny. Or at least not funny enough for it to be worth my time. Again, entertainment here and there is okay, but you want to make sure that it's not exceeding like an hour to half an hour a day. I think I'm at a good optimal level right now. I'm gonna watch two channels. I'm gonna watch two channels for entertainment and one for semi-information, which is like science, all that kind of stuff, like educational YouTube that doesn't really actually teach me anything I can apply to real life. That's it for videos that aren't going to help me. I'm gonna stop doom scrolling and doing stuff like that because it's just a waste of time. And honestly, time being the most valuable thing, that's not really something that you can just waste. So I need to stop wasting it. So no more scrolling on mobile YouTube. I'm going to look up specific videos, and if I don't have a specific video in mind, then I'm gonna get off. I'm gonna look at a channel for any uploads that it may have uploaded. I'm gonna look at the second one to see if they've uploaded anything. And then I'm gonna look at the semi-informational to see if they've uploaded anything. And if all of those, once I've either watched one upload from them, or each of them, or they have uploaded or whatever, once I check all of them off my list, I'm gonna go look for certain specific videos that'll actually help me later on down the line. Or I'm gonna get off of YouTube and go do something more productive. Right now, the former is way more likely for me to do because learning is really important, and especially at my age where I know practically nothing. And I'm going to realize more and more as I keep watching the videos that I'm watching that I do know nothing. Like Socrates said, the more I have learned, the more I have realized that I do not know anything. He's a really smart man. Like, that happens to most people. The more you learn about a subject, the more you realize you know nothing about it. You can spend hours researching into any, like, broad topic, and you will only begin to scratch the surface. Even if you spend, like, your entire life on something, like, specific, you'll only really be able to know the ins and outs of it to an extent. You can't know the complete ins and outs of it because that requires you to just not do anything else. And if you're going to be a healthy human being, you need to make sure that your health, mental, physical, and social, are all part of your focus, just not your core priority at that very moment. Which is another thing that I want to bring up as well. People always talk about, like, oh, it's a priority. Oh, it's a priority of mine. No, it's one of my priorities. That's not what the word priority means. To prioritize something is to make it your main focus. If something is your priority, then nothing else is. One thing can be your priority at a time. And if you constantly swap between something being your priority, like day in, day out, then both of those things are going to suffer over the course of like years. What you want to do is you want to pick one. Right now, I'm going to pick fitness and health, and I'm going to hyper focus onto that for probably the next month or so until I'm at such a good stage where I can be like, okay, I can just put this back down to a level where it's just being maintained, and then I can focus full time on work and this, so that I can finally start doing good on it. I'm about to hit my 16th birthday in almost exactly 3 weeks from the day that you're going to be seeing this. So I am not going to be fooling around when it comes to that. I'm going to be applying to a lot of jobs. You're still going to see a weekly upload at least. And I'm going to cut like pretty much every fun activity that I do right now. The YouTube thing that I mentioned where I only watch like 3 channels that aren't super helpful towards my main goals, It's one Let's Play channel, a channel that kind of does its own thing. I don't really know what to call it. It's more of like a sort of red pill thing, but it's not exactly. I don't know what to call it. And then another one is like sciencey videos. Yeah. Just those three. These are the only three for entertainment or otherwise not very useful purposes. And then outside of just watching these guys once each per day, that's no more entertainment from there. Unless I'm like at a friend's house or I have a holiday planned, like tomorrow's going to be the 4th or something like that, because I'm done wasting my time. I've watched so much entertainment over the years. I've watched all the big channels, all the big Let's Play channels. I've watched all the small meme channels. And I watch so much, and I forget everything that's in there. I remember watching all of these different channels, but I don't remember almost any of the content. Because it was all just so mindless for so long. Because it was like for 5, 6, 7 hours a day. Especially back in like 8th grade, before I really had a friend group to talk to. It was like a couple guys in my grade and then another guy below me, and that's pretty much what my friends looked like back then. Which I'm not saying you need a lot of friends, but it's just I didn't really talk to any of them outside of video games. But nevertheless, I'm sick and tired of wasting my time. I can play video games here and there when I'm with a friend or I'm sleeping over at someone's house or something like that. But when I'm on my own on days like this, I mean, not completely days like this, because I'm going to go to a carnival later tonight, because it's like an annual thing for Independence Day. And then tomorrow, I'm going to celebrate the Independence Day by shooting fireworks at my uncle's house, which is what we've done every single year. And then Wednesday might have something like, I think, a church activity, but Thursday is purely focus. I'm going to get like the 30 hours of sunlight that I actually need, and then after I leave the gym again, I'm gonna come back inside, and I'm going to watch that little bit of entertainment, have my after workout meal, and I'm going to go downstairs, make sure chores are done, come back up here and sit up here and just learn fitness stuff for until like 6 o'clock that night. And of course, this doesn't mean that I'm quitting Clash of Clans yet. I'm not doing that yet. In case any of my friends have somehow found me through this, because I wouldn't expect them to be able to. But in case they have, I'm not quitting Clash of Clans yet. That will still receive like 30 minutes of playtime every day. I think the only exception will be later on today, because I have a free training potion that I don't have room for, so I'm just gonna use one and just farm. But other than that, I'm not going to waste my time with entertainment anymore. If I want to watch entertainment, I'm going to watch it to a very low level to where I can actually remember the stuff I'm watching. Because, like, let's give you an example. 4 or 5 years ago, I would be the kind of guy that would stay up till 3 o'clock just on YouTube. Not playing video games, not doing any sort of interactive thing. I'm gonna turn this on because it gets really echoey in here. There you go. I used to be the guy that would stay up 3 till 3 or 4 a.m. just watching YouTube, and then I'd stay in bed until like 12, 1 o'clock the next day. which was awful for my health, first of all. But second of all, I didn't, of course, remember anything that I would watch because it was all mindless. I was just clicking on videos that I was like, oh, I want to rewatch that, or ooh, that looks interesting. Because especially back then, I was incredibly picky with the kind of entertainment that I watched, which is a good thing. I'm even more picky about it now. Because if something isn't just like immediately eye-catching, then I'm not going to even bother with it. Which is why clickbait's kind of necessary. But nevertheless, I would stay up several hours just rewatching things like Markiplier, other Let's Play channel. I don't remember what else I watched at the time, I'll be honest. It was that mindless. I don't even remember the other channels I watched. I can't even name off the top of my head what I used to watch 4 or 5 years ago, other than Markiplier. No, I genuinely can't remember. Just goes to show how pointless that activity was. Like, if I can't even remember it, what was the point? I'm not saying watching entertainment is inherently a bad thing. Just watching any more than like an hour of it a day is a waste of time. It's just that simple. Like, you can watch a short amount of it to get you into a good mood or whatever. But you don't need any more than like an hour a day. And you don't need to watch any more than 3 channels. And that's what I'm going to be doing. Because those nights of complete mindlessness where I did nothing but watch entertainment, and then I'd wake up the next day and I'd forget everything, that I look back on that and it actually makes me angry, because that was so much sleep ruined because I wanted to watch content that I wouldn't even remember just a few years later. If I'm watching something, I want it to be able to stick into my brain for a long time. And if it's not gonna do that, like it's not going to be either something super memorable or something from a channel that I just watch consistently, then I don't care to see it. It's not any sort of purpose in my mind. I think the only somewhat exception I do to this is on Sundays, because I do intermittent fasting. So I have a really big, massive meal on Sundays. Like, rather than having breakfast, lunch, and dinner, I have all 3 at the same time. And I just eat it in one really big meal sometime around lunchtime. And then I don't eat anything the entire rest of the day. That's probably the only case where it's like an exception, because I'm eating for an exceptionally long time just sitting in my room. That is the only day I think that can even become an exception to this, and that'll just be to watch the other channels that I'm subscribed to that only upload like once every month or so. Like, I have a few channels that are either super inconsistent and don't know when they even want to upload, or they upload like once every week, once every other week, kind of like this. Which this is supposed to be on Mondays because it's the start of the week. I want you to be able to take something into the week and drive it forth the rest of the week. Take something away from this video, hopefully. Because I think this is something that everyone needs to know. Especially everyone that wants to become successful. Like, if you're looking towards running your own business in just a few years, or getting any sort of job that requires a lot of your attention, this is the number one thing you need to do. I'm especially talking to everyone who hasn't even left high school yet, because you know that school drains a lot of your battery. There's no point into draining everything else. So now that we've gone over everything that is a waste of your time, like Let's Plays, like just meme videos that you're probably not going to remember almost anything out of, tier lists for things that you don't play or watch anymore, so why do you even bother? and just any sort of content like that. Content that's like, if it is informative, it's not really useful to you. And this goes for educational YouTube as well, like science videos, history videos. I only am leaving one subscribe because they handle like Kurzgesagt. They handle Kurzgesagt? I don't speak German. They handle like new level topics, new research that comes out, anything like that. And some of it is actually somewhat cool to listen to. Like, I'm gonna probably still be a history buff for a while, but I'm not gonna be several hours out of my day anymore. I'm not gonna be sitting there just watching oversimplified talk about the First Punic War. So those are like multiple different types of content, as well as like most vlogs from people. Unless you're looking into the head of unless you're like looking into the mind of a really successful person, then those are also mostly a waste of time. Like if you're looking at a scripted vlog, that's kind of whatever. Unless it's like this, but this isn't scripted anyway, yet. What you could use your time to do and actually spend good time on is watching people that are teaching you lessons that you can apply to the real world immediately. What I mean by this is the fitness videos that I talked about earlier. Learn how to work out properly without killing yourself. Learn how to become more productive. Learn how to embrace uncomfortable things. One, so that you're not super scared of uncomfortable things, and two, so that comfortable things are actually more enjoyable, because your dopamine baseline will be down farther and it'll take less for you to be really happy. Which is kind of the whole idea of embracing discomfort in the first place, is that you embrace discomfort now so that later on you can be even happier. And also learn how to get to a comfortable financial position to where you're no longer having to sit in your room and with like nothing except for electronics in an apartment that you don't want to be in. You need to learn how to make money very early on. A few people I recommend for this is like Alex Hormozy, Hamza. I'm going to be watching more later, but those are the two core people that I've watched so far. And again, I'm not focused on wealth right now because I can't even find a job that'll take a 15-year-old anyway. I've been around town too. Not even a ma and pa shop is around. So I'm gonna focus on health and fitness right now because I have a food stamps card. I'm just gonna keep going to Walmart. Anytime my family has like fast food or pizza or something, I'm gonna just go up to Walmart and I'm just gonna buy a steak. Unless, again, it's like a very special occasion where I'm like at a sleepover or something and their grandma makes me food. Because I don't want to waste my time with fast food. I accepted fast food not too long ago while I was at a friend's house. We were doing one of the very rare occasions where I actually stay in a place for a really long time and just game. Even with someone else, that's super rare. But I did that for like the first time since I was last at his place for a couple weeks. And I accepted his mother's offer to buy me McDonald's. And it wasn't very big. It was like a little 10-piece McNugget with barbecue sauce on the side. And I still felt kind of guilty eating it. And it tasted really good, I won't lie to you. trash food tastes really good. That's the point. That's why you're able to eat trash, is because it tastes good. If it's unhealthy and it tastes terrible, you'll never look in its direction twice. But if it tastes really good and it's so terrible for you, then you're going to be a lot more hesitant to put it down. And the main problem with trash food that I've had for so long is the fact that it tastes really good. But I know now that I no longer have to struggle with that whole idea, because healthy food can taste just as good. That's something that a lot of people can't understand, is that you can taste that and you can taste really good tasting food and also have it be healthy. Find your legume of choice: almonds, cashews, peanuts. Find any sort of nut, doesn't matter what. Most of them can come in some sort of butter form. Almonds and peanuts definitely do. And they're very simple to make, and you can make them without adding anything else. I think that's the way with peanut butter. And they still taste really good. And there's like a million vegetables and fruits out there. Figure out what you like, and then eat that. Of course, like the best few fruits, there are some fruits that are better than others in terms of nutrition, but there's still definitely way healthier for you. Like, if you have to have sweets, if you have to have sweets, it's better you pick watermelon than watermelon flavored Jolly Ranchers, because one, they both have a lot of sugar anyway, so you shouldn't eat either that often. But two, the Jolly Ranchers have more processing, they have other ingredients, they have all this other stuff that they add into it that's also bad for you. Because you have to remember, it's not just the macromolecules that are bad for you. If the ingredients list has something that your body doesn't agree with, your body's not going to care how much protein it has. It's going to not take it very well. And you need to understand that these are also a waste of money. Food that is bad for you is a waste of your money, simply because you're not gaining anything out of it. Again, other than the rush of dopamine in that exact moment. So I want to just kind of spread this out there. This might be a bit shorter than usual, because it's basically just me telling you, go look up things that'll actually help you. So I have a real quick thing that you can do. You can take this into action right now while this video is just playing on Mini Player or whatever. And if you're watching this on your TV, get on your phone and do this. Look at every single subscription that you have and be like, does watching this add something to my life? Does this really help me in any way other than just pure pleasure? And is it harming me, like, in any sort of way? I stopped watching Markiplier because he just made a new video on the new sequel that's released, Sucker for Love 2. I watched the first one because he released it quite a while ago, and I was still watching that kind of content that at the time, but I don't watch that stuff anymore. I don't want to see that anymore. So, like, and he made an OnlyFans, which is like, it goes to a charity, so I guess it's fine. So I'm gonna unsubscribe from him as well. I might do a little bit of a send-off thing since it's been so long since I've watched him, and I might watch his Sons of the Forest series with Mark, Bob, and Wade as like the last thing that I'm going to watch from him. Other than like maybe very occasional things, but I still don't need to be subscribed to him for that. Because I'll still be watching him like once every week most. So like Markiplier is one that I smashed out, and it's not like it wasn't somewhat painful. I kind of had this illusion of an idea in my mind that I had grown a connection with him when he doesn't know me. He doesn't know who I am. No one that you watch online knows who you really are. I don't know anyone watching this video, probably, unless it's like an actual personal friend of mine that I know in real life. Unless you two have met in person, chances are they don't even know who you are or that you exist. They just see your number tick up on their video. That's it. So once I started crushing that ideology of like, oh, but I've watched him for so long, it would be tough to unsubscribe from him now, I crushed that. So I'm unsubscribing from a lot of Let's Players that I used to watch, because that was most of the stuff that I used to have with a lot of them. It used to be like, oh, I've been subscribed to him for so long. Oh, I remember watching him as a kid. Oh, I remember he used to get me through some hard times. Doesn't matter. Just because something was helpful then doesn't mean you need to hold on to it. I think that's another lesson that people need to learn, because that also applies to like previous relationships and whatnot. Like, sure, it may have been fun or good at the time, but once it exceeds its either usefulness or it exceeds its overall value, then there's no point to have it. And I'm not saying that to be like rude or anything. People don't like to think that friendship is a transactional thing. It mostly is transactional. It just has a commercial vibe to it. This is like the exact words of Alex Hormozy, but think of it more as like an exchange than a transaction. It's like both of you have to get value out of the friendship, and if someone isn't getting value out of the friendship, they have all right to cut that off. They don't have to sit there and try and fix it. They don't have to sit there and talk to you and be like, hey, you're not, I don't like alcohol, can we figure out something else to do? Something like that. They don't have to sit there and listen to reasons on why this person will never change. They can just change themselves and move away. I think probably the best example of this is people who have like friends from college or high school that they were really rambunctious with in their early years, and they screwed around and they went to like nightclubs or whatever. I can't even imagine this because I'm 15 and I live in a small town, so I'm not going to find any of this. But like they did all that kind of stuff, right? So you were friends with them because that was one of your interests at the time. But then the future started coming around and you started going more and more towards self-improvement, but they never changed. So you sit there, you're like, well, why am I even friends with this person anymore? We don't go out anymore. We don't do things together. We hardly even talk. What's the point of us having communications? It just takes up my brain power. And so you're just like, hey, I know we had a really good thing, but we don't really have that anymore. So I think it's just best if we both move on, and that's okay. And there's no problem with two people just mutually agreeing, yeah, we don't spend time anymore, we don't hang out, and then we go our separate ways. I have a lot of friends like that I have a lot of people that would have been like that in the previous school that I went to before here. And you saw it if you go to my channel's archive, Jerky Perky Archive, if you go to that, you can see videos like bus ride, and you can also see like other gaming videos that were taken inside of that house at the time. Like you can see bus ride videos of people with friends whose faces I haven't even seen since I either last watched those videos or I was there 3 years ago, 4 years ago. It's about to be 4 years ago as of November of this year. Like, I hardly even remember any of those people. I don't really remember their personality or the type of people they were. And I can't even begin to predict who they would be now. Because I would have never predicted that I would be like this today. I'm really proud of it, but again, I was just not that kind of kid. I stayed up. I pulled all-nighters. That's really all you need to know to realize that I probably would not have been this kind of kid today if I had not found this part of the internet. But the whole concept of being able to move on from stuff really helped me a lot with just realizing that all these relationships that I've had in the past, all these friends, all these potential friends that almost worked out but then we kind of dragged away, every single thing like that, they can all just simply be moved on from. There's no point in holding on to any of these. I'm no longer going to hold on from a single friendship that I had at the time of me being in Sumner was the town. I had a lot of friends as well. I was friends with pretty much every single boy in my grade because it was like a really small school. I love being able to say that to people. I was friends with pretty much the entire grade because the grade was like 14 people. And I say that I was friends with the entire boys with all the boys in my grade because there were like 6 or 7. See if I can remember all of them off the top of my head. I think I was the 6th boy. I really hope I'm not forgetting someone. But I think that's everyone. I didn't say their names out loud, of course, but a lot of them have channels. Like, I don't know if I'm still subscribed to on Jerky Perky Archive or not, but I might be. I'll have to go check that out. And I'm also going to publicize. I'm going to unchange. I'm going to keep pretty much everything on Jerky Perky Archive unchanged as well. And then I'm going to publicize everything, like all my playlists, everything. So, look forward to that, I guess. You can look inside the head of a 15-year-old boy. 15-year-old man. I think I'm a man now. I'm getting close anyway. But being able to move on from all of these things, being able to say that these things are in the past and there's no point in holding on to something that's not useful. And that goes with everything. That goes with absolutely everything. Nothing is exempt from this. If something does not have value in it, if something is not giving you any sort of value, leave it. The only thing I can think that's even somewhat of an exception to this is family. Because, like, kids are a long-term investment anyway, so that's obvious. Your mom and dad are the people that raised you, so you better at least keep them in your life. You don't have to talk to them very often, especially if you want to become like a millionaire. You're not going to be able to if you want to actually do that. But it's a matter of looking at something, saying, does this bring value into my life? And if it does that value exceed whatever its costs are? And are you willing to sacrifice a lot of things for it? This also helps with figuring out if you actually want to buy something. Figure out what your salary is, and then figure out how much the thing you want costs. Like, I think a good example of this is like, find a shirt that's like $50 or something. And let's say you make about minimum wage $9 an hour. So this $50 shirt would take you about 5.5 hours to work off. Would you be willing to work for 5.5 hours just to be able to receive this one shirt? And if the answer is no, then it's probably not worth it. If you can't look at something and say, yeah, I would actually spend as much time as that would take for me to work off that thing, then there's probably no... If you can't spend figuring out how to word this, I really want to be able to start scripting these videos. If you aren't willing to spend the amount of time that it would take to work off the cost to that thing that you want to buy, then it's not worth buying. That's a tangent, but I have so many of these things planned for other videos, and I keep using them here. So cut off old channels that you don't watch anymore, first of all. So you need to unsubscribe for them. So first, so they can stop appearing in your recommended, but also so that they can, generally get out of your mind, so you can start filling your recommended with channels that are really helping you. Like, rather than keeping that channel, like that video game channel from 2-3 years ago that you don't even watch anymore, in your recommended constantly, you can just unsubscribe from it and then say not interested every time that it pops up. And then that'll start appearing less and less, so that more and more videos that you'll actually watch will appear. I started realizing that I'm also having this problem currently, because this current channel hasn't always been so refined. The first couple weeks of it were still very, not very time-wise. Not very wise with how I spent my time. So this channel also still has a lot of those problems. I'm gonna start purging a lot of stuff. I think I'm gonna go on my last rampage of unsubscribing from people. I still think 30 subscriptions is still way too much. I still think that's way too much. And to think that some people have 70, 80. I know a person that has 120. That's insane. I don't know how they even... Because I use the subscriptions tab a lot too. So I can't imagine it being that cluttered. But, the people that I know of that do that kind of stuff aren't very organized, so... Maybe that means something. If you have over 50 subscriptions, chances are you're not very organized. Okay, so a quick recap. Stop watching stuff that's not helping you, and especially stop watching stuff that's harming you. Don't watch porn. I have a whole video on that where I basically just rant about how not fun porn was for me and how I ended up escaping it. I also have... No, I don't have that up yet. Never mind. That's not a thing I've made yet. I've also figured out that I should stop wasting my time with stuff like video game let's plays and stuff. Because I'm not playing video games anyway. Why do I care? I'm not going to spend my time watching a soccer game or something, because I don't play soccer. I think it's a cool sport, but I don't play it, so I don't care. If I don't do something that I'm watching, if I don't plan on doing something that's in a video that I'm watching, unless it's part of those 3 specific channels, or it's Sunday, I'm not going to watch it. And then that's it. Babushka. Done. Out of here. So, hopefully this is any sort of value. This will be a bit shorter. This is only 45 minutes. If you want to, you can go and check out my subscriptions. After I do another purge of them, I'm going to unprivate them so that you can see what I'm going to be watching. I'm also going to make pretty much everything public on both this channel and my archive channel, because I'm going to leave the archive channel pretty much unchanged from what it is. I do need to hop on it, but that's another thing. So, I guess to help the algorithm out, like and subscribe. Yeah, I don't really care to do that. I'm already getting an early enough start on this. You don't have to do that so early. I'm not focused on this yet. Just like, watch this video, and if you decide that this channel has a lot of potential, then stick around. But right now, it's just kind of incoherent rambling. I'm only going to focus on fitness and health for like next month, and after school starts back up, it's going to be all business from there, because I'm not going to have a lot of time. I'm not going to have almost any time with school, because I'm going to my junior year, so that's also going to take up a lot of my time. I need to watch a lot of productivity videos in August as well, but hopefully I still provided something useful here. So, in a couple weeks from now, I already know what I have planned next week. For next week's video, it's going to be on essentialism and maybe effortlessness, if I can fit that in there. And it's going to be pretty much just dumbing down a video that another YouTuber made, so look forward to that. I'm gonna already be using someone else's content because it's actually already been helping a lot. And so maybe 2 weeks from now, I can start uploading fitness-based content, like why it's so important to get the right form or something. I hope you got something out of this. Again, I don't know how useful these videos are. I know that if I watched my own videos, I wouldn't get much out of it, but I'm probably going to start watching my videos here soon so that I can start figuring out what I'm doing wrong and then figure out how to fix that. But the main thing right now is to just get better at being on camera, which this is starting to become more normal to me, so that's already gotten most of the way. But yeah, have a great Monday, have a great 4th of July. I hope to see you next time on this channel as well for Essentialism, because I think it's really changed my life as well. Because it cuts out so many wastes of time. It's going to be even more insane than this video. This video is just supposed to be like a sort of start, because I want to really understand the concept of Essentialism first before I get to that. This one is just how to not waste time on the internet. The next one's going to be how to not waste your time at all. How to not waste your time on the internet, watch stuff that actually helps you in life, and don't watch anything else. And then how to not waste your time overall, that's going to be another video. Which, I don't even know if I'm ready for that video, but hopefully you are. So, goodbye. I will see you all in the next one. Go outside for at least like 30 minutes a day just to get your daily dose of sunlight and eat good. It's way more worth it than people let you think.